Hello, and welcome to episode 66 of Comics with Stevey D. Comics in Space. I'm really excited about this show because I've always been fascinated with space and science fiction, and these comic books fill that niche in my imagination. Let's blast off on our cosmic comic book adventure in this Victorian style space vessel. And if you look closely, the lunar lander looks like a diving bell. Classic Illustrated number 26 from 1997, cover art by Alex Blum. This comic is based on the Jules Verne novel published in 1865 and is considered one of the earliest examples of science fiction literature. Here's a book that looks like it's from the 50s, but it's not. This is First Trip to the Moon from the year 2000. And what I love about this cover is the scroll. It has all the text talking about the age mankind is in, and the missile rocket and the other astronauts doing experiments on the moon, and he's smiling inside his helmet. That's pretty cool. Here is another novel that was made into a comic book by Jules Verne. Lighthouse number 5 from 2021. And it's cool. It's a very neat cover. Interior artwork is very excellent also in this. What we have here is Buck Rogers number 4 from 1964. An oldie but a goodie. Buck first appeared in newspaper comic strips in 1927. This character was created by Philip Francis Nolan and drawn by Dick Calkins. Here is one of my favorite covers of the show, even though there's many of them that are very nice. I looked through probably close to 200 books before picking these out, and I had some of these. So I looked at a whole bunch of space themed comic books, and I really like these. This is a terrific cover, possibly my favorite of the show. Star Trek To Boldly Go from 2022. Star Trek was the creation of Gene Roddenberry. The TV show aired from 1966 through 1969. And I seen the original episodes as a kid, and I used to watch them with my dad. Here's a beautiful orangish color cover. Is this the Martian Chronicles? Yeah, Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles from 1994, number 1. And when I bought these comic books, a whole bunch of them I got first issues. They're not the kind of books people are in a great demand for, so I got very good prices on these books. This comic is based on Ray Bradbury's novel, The Martian Chronicles, was published in the mid to late 50s. I read the book in high school. It's a classic planet landing exploration sci-fi with a sense of a mystery about it. You can tell by expression, and I've talked about expression many times in comic books. There you have the missile rocket again and the space crew, and he's holding a really cool high-tech pair of binoculars. Here we go. Star Wars number 11 from 1992. The Star Wars motion picture was released in 1977, created by George Lucas setting off a worldwide sensation that continues to this day. And I like this a whole lot because it's a Darth Vader battling Obi-Wan Kenobi. I always thought those were the two big shots in Star Wars. And Darth Vader has the lightsaber, but Obi-Wan is just using the Force. So that's a real cool cover. War of the Worlds, #1 from 1996. This comic was based on H.G. Wells' book published in 1898. I have an interesting fact about this story. A historic broadcast occurred Halloween night, 1938, on the Mercury Theater show on the CBS radio network. Orson Welles directed and narrated it in the style of a live news report. Thousands of anxious and confused listeners believed it to be real. It's an early case of fake news. But what is really cool about this, it's happening in St. Louis, my hometown, and there's the Gateway Arch behind the Mars walkers. Real cool. And right after Star Wars was so popular, television got in on it with this oversized book. I've never seen a Marvel book that says Marvel Comics Super Special. 8C from 1977, Battlestar Galactica. It became a television show in 1978. This issue was just in time for the launch of the show. And this next Battlestar, even though I just love the detail in the spacecraft in this one. And this next one is Battlestar Galactica, Cylon Apocalypse, #1D from 2007. And this shows the characters, and it also shows a battle going on in the background. So this is very nostalgic. I've watched most all of these television science fiction shows in their first when they first appeared on television. Here's one that I just love, the robot. The robot sticks out so well in this one. This is Lost in Space, #1 from 1998. The television show it aired from 1965 through 68. And it was campy in style like the Batman show at the time also was. But I just love your basic boy and his robot cover. And there's Don and either Penny or Judy Robinson. I can't tell yet. All right. My next one is a modern show that I watched and really enjoyed. Star Wars, The Mandalorian 2D from 2022. It's a very modern book. Okay, and I want to bring it in close so you can see Grogu in the levitating buggy, baby buggy. And there's the Mandalorian. And those little, I forgot the names of these things. They're scavengers and they trade. And here's Boba Fett. He's got to get in on the act. This is Star Wars, War of the Bounty Hunters, #1 from 2021. And I just love the periscope on Boba Fett's helmet design. It's really cool. Now here's one I'm going to give to one of my small grandsons. It's a little golden book, as you can see by this. I used to read these as a kid, and I read them to my kids. But this is a good book because it has the spaceships and space stations and speeders, and it's real cool. I'll just open it up to a random page, and oh good, it's a page that's got an X-Wing fighter on one side and a whole bunch of other ones. The whole book's like that, and it's mint condition. I mean, it looks like it just came from the factory, and it's stiff as a board, you know, never probably been read. Moving on. Guardians of the Galaxy, number 1A from 2015. I looked at a whole bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy covers, and I like this one the best because of Groot. Because he stands out so well on the cover. You know, and there's Rocket Raccoon and the rest of them. And it was a neat Guardians of the Galaxy cover. All right. Next we have a heavy metal magazine. I love the movie and seen magazines in my youth. I didn't collect them, but I read them from time to time. Darkwing Heavy Metal, number 1 from 2020. Cover art by G. Ponce. The entire planet is a spaceship. And it reminds me of a movie I recently saw, a Korean movie, The Wandering Earth, where they have to move the Earth out of its orbit and find a new place to park it. It was a really neat science fiction movie. All right. This was a movie I enjoyed for its comedy plus science fiction. Mars Attacks, number 1 from 1995. Now, I want to show you something. Doesn't this cover, isn't it very similar to this cover? Alien Alliance Invasion. He's got the hand around the Earth and the bulbous head and just very, very similar. This probably inspired this. I'm going to look inside and see if they were the same artist, but I really kind of doubt it because they're years and years apart, you know. All right. Throw up the next book. I love this because it's a monster, a space monster. Mystery in Space, number 12. And this is my oldest comic book. And it looks great. It's not Mystery in Space number 112 from 1951. Making this book 73 years old. I got it for $3, I think. And it is just a great cover, you know. Great. Moving on to more contemporary television shows. I love the Orville. The comedy Star Trek kind of thing, but I love the spaceship the most because of all the spaceships you've seen on television and stuff. Its design, I just love how the fuselage blends in with the power sources of these 3 wings. And whatever angle you look at it on a TV show, I'd freeze it and just study how the designing and engineering of the model. But it's really a cool looking spaceship. The Orville. And The Orville was a TV show that aired in 2017 and lasted 3 seasons. And it was created by Seth MacFarlane, comedy space drama. Here's a show I loved, and they canceled it on me right away. And I didn't like it, and a lot of other people didn't like it either. Firefly, number 28 from 2018. The TV show aired in 2002. And it's kind of like adventure, Western, kind of like roaming space marauders. Pirates, but good pirates. Here's a real thick book. The show I really love. Look how thick this book is. It's got a lot of weight. It's got cardstock cover. Farscape, number 7 from 2010. 2010. And it's an organic spaceship, Moya of the Leviathan race. First aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in 1999. And it had an interface with the artificial intelligence and the beings on the ship. So it was lots of interesting things, especially the organic spaceship. All right. I love this cover. It's a terrific cover also. Last Space Race number 1B from 2018. Another one of my first issues. Just look at that Saturn and the astronaut free falling into it and spacewalking. Just a beautiful comic book. Great shape. All right. Now, the next books are for my Star Trek Deep Space Nine Next Generation mode. These are all painted covers, so they're all beautiful. This is Deep Space Nine number 1 from 1994. A terrific S. Salva painted cover. And I'm going to show a few interior pages of these next 3 books, comparing the way the artist drew the stable wormhole by Deep Space Nine. There's the space station and the Enterprise, and there's the wormhole. That's one version. Isn't that cool? All right. And then we have Deep Space Nine number 1 from 1993. And this is a great cover because I really like the nostalgia. It has all the characters on the cover. Science Major Kira, Chief O'Brien, Science Officer Dax, Security Chief Odo, Dr. Bashar, and the being that knows all the rules of acquisition, Quark. Kind of a con artist, criminal, good guy, bad guy. And this is this artist's conception of the Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is pretty standard because you can't change it, but the wormhole is interesting, and there's something shooting out of it in this one, if you can see. All right, and the last example of the wormhole I have, and there's Cisco on the cover with a Klingon and a Kardashian, and this is Deep Space Nine number 1 from 1994, and Cisco's has to be a diplomat, and he's a warrior. He kind of saved Earth from the Borg back in Star Wars. And there's the wormhole, just as the remnant of the energy blast that came out of it. But Deep Space Nine is surrounded by Kardashian and Klingon warships. So that's why Cisco has such a determined look on his face. Determined to stay alive. All right. Here's beautiful painted portraits of the characters in this Deep Space Nine. Number 1 from 1995. It's a special. And the last of the Star Trek books I have to show you is, you can't mention Star Trek without Worf or stuff like that, you know. Here's an interesting Klingon cover. Star Trek The Next Generation, Shadowheart number 2 from 1995. And this is more or less a photograph that's been painted. It doesn't look like a portrait like in the other ones. But I like, that's his brother and his ex-wife and his son. They all live together on a starship. What show would be complete without the hero who traveled the universe farther than any of these other space wanderers? The Silver Surfer. And there's the Silver Surfer. Annual number 4 from 1991. And while that's up there, it reminds me of a joke. So if they called Iron Man Shellhead and they called Captain America Winghead, what do they call the Submariner? Spock ears. And with that concludes our show, Comics in Space, also known as Space Inside the Boob Tube. Have a great time collecting comic books. I was really happy about adding this niche to my collection, and I'll add space books here and there, a little at a time. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.